revealed. The miraculous connection among all faiths through 3 prophetic sacred truths in the charming village of Hopewell, where roses bloomed and church bells rang. A deep spiritual revolution was on the horizon. A devoted pastor, Samuel, sat before a flickering flame, his heart heavy with despair. His precious daughter, Emma, lay bedridden, her joyful laughter silenced by a mysterious illness. As dusk gathered, shadows danced on the chapel walls, whispering secrets of faith and hope just beyond reach. The chapel felt alive, as if heaven itself had come to observe. Samuel knelt on worn stones, a humble petition rising from his lips. Suddenly, the air thickened with an unexplainable presence, a warmth that filled him with both fear and reverence. An epiphany took hold. He could feel the essence of 3 prophetic truths stirring about him like a divine breeze, and with each breath, Samuel felt an unmistakable connection among all faiths as he surrendered to the moment. The first truth unfolded a shimmering vision of villagers coming together, hands clasped, hearts united in prayer. Individuals from every corner of faith, Baptists, Catholics, and Methodists, all fervently seeking divine intervention for Emma's healing. Samuel's heart swelled with hope as he pictured their diverse voices melding. Rising as one in a heavenly choir of intention, it was undeniably beautiful, and that holy glow. He envisioned candles flickering in homes across the village, bright symbols of faith illuminating the darkness surrounding them. Families gathered, their faces aglow with worship, fervently praying for one another, young and old. He could almost hear their soft murmurs resonate like sacred hymns, knitting hearts together in love. Samuel's spirit soared as he grasped the extraordinary strength found in this family devotion. But the third truth sent his pulse racing with a heavenly certainty. Miracles often bloom from the darkest soil. As despair threatened to consume him, a surge of peace washed over Samuel, reminding him that amidst suffering, divine wonders often unfolded. He could feel it deep within his bones. A stirring, expectant joy whispering that hope was alive and waiting. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. In that sacred space, Samuel sought divine guidance, each moment stretching into eternity. Just then, a miraculous warmth enveloped the chapel, pulsing through him like an ancient drumbeat. It was as if the very heavens were responding to his call, affirming the truth of his revelations. Would this collective awakening knit them closer, binding the village in brotherhood? Would they rise above their differences, united through heartfelt prayers? As Samuel emerged from the chapel, the weight of uncertainty remained, yet he carried a renewed hope within. The community rallied together, their faith intertwining like threads in a magnificent tapestry. And then, like a burst of sunlight piercing through storm clouds, Emma's condition began to improve. The villagers gasped, their breaths catching in disbelief, realizing that the divine mysteries at play were far greater than they had ever imagined. Samuel stood at the edge of a newfound reality, his heart racing. What did this collective healing mean for Hopewell? Would it spark a deeper understanding of their shared faith? As questions hung heavy in the air, Samuel felt an undeniable truth in his heart, a call to nurture their spiritual unity, even as the extraordinary began to unfold. Hope shone brightly, but the path forward was still veiled in divine mystery, leaving Samuel yearning for the next chapter that awaited him and his beloved village. As the sun rose the following day, Hopewell stirred to life, its pulse quickened by a wave of renewed hope. Samuel stepped outside, inhaling the crisp morning air, his heart filled with a tender excitement. The community gathered like bees to a blooming flower, drawn together by that miraculous shift. Whispered stories of Emma's improvements spread like wildfire, stitching the villagers' hearts closer. Samuel took a moment, his eyes scanning the open lawn where families stood together, prayers still fresh on their lips. He watched as Martha, a local seamstress, embraced her neighbor George, her joy spilling like sunlight across the dew-kissed grass. Their differing beliefs melted away in that moment, leaving only the shared bond of humanity and faith. He felt the warmth of their unity radiate like an inviting flame. This was more than just a simple healing. It was as if God had invited them all to dance in the same rhythm of grace. As he approached, a familiar face turned to him, Jeremiah, the village blacksmith, with his weathered hands clasped together like an offering. "Pastor," he said, eyes glistening, "we must keep this spirit alive. We've tasted the sweetness of our gathering." Samuel nodded, feeling the pressing urge to summon that joyful energy into a larger purpose. "What shall we do?" he asked, turquoise skies above echoing his hopeful heart. "Let us have a prayer gathering. Every night until Emma is fully healed," Jeremiah exclaimed, his voice robust and hopeful. "What a beautiful idea." Samuel's heart leapt. They gathered together under the stars, each prayer a star shining in the vastness of the night, creating a celestial canopy of love and faith. As the day unfolded, preparations began. Candles were lit, stories shared, and the aroma of shared meals wafted through the air. The spirit of camaraderie infiltrated every home, echoing behind doorways where laughter and prayers intertwined. Samuel felt an overwhelming gratitude surging within him. Yet, as night cloaked the village, doubt crept in. What if these heartfelt prayers did not bring the miracle they longed for? Was he merely a dreamer, holding onto a fleeting hope? As the first gathered in the chapel that evening, Samuel welcomed them, his hands trembling with the weight of vulnerability. "We are united in our love for Emma," he proclaimed, his voice steadying. "In our diverse faiths we find a common heartbeat. Our prayers carve pathways through the heavens." The chapel filled with the soft sound of clear voices, each rising like a fragrant smoke to heaven. Samuel led the gathering, each prayer a brushstroke adding vibrancy to their tapestry of faith. And as they prayed, there it was the air began to shimmer anew. Like a gentle breeze swirling about them, a profound sense of peace enveloped the room. It whispered of something deeper, a renewal not just for Emma, but for the village itself, a painting waiting to be completed. But suddenly, a knock echoed through the chapel doors, a sound that silenced their prayers. All eyes turned toward the entrance, a foreboding excitement in the air. What awaited them beyond that door? What was God whispering amidst their devotion? Samuel's heart thudded as he stepped forward, the weight of anticipation heavy on his shoulders. The path to the next revelation seemed as intricate as the threads of their once fractured lives. The knock reverberated in the hushed chapel, resonating with an almost sacred urgency. Samuel paused, uncertain but hopeful, a prayer forming silently on his lips. As he reached for the heavy oak door, he sensed the congregation's breath collectively hold, a blend of fear and excitement dancing in the air like flickering candle flames. With a deep inhale, he swung the door open. The figure that stood before him was unexpected. It was Clara, a woman cloaked in a vibrant shawl, her presence bold against the tapestry of muted evening colors. Her eyes, bright as stars, shone with fervent determination. She held something in her hands, cradling it like a newborn. "Pastor Samuel," she breathed, urgency lacing her words. "I bring a message, a revelation, crucial for us all." The room remained still, every heart now attuned to the weight of her words. "Speak, sister," Samuel encouraged, stepping back to invite her inside. Clara entered, the shawl billowing behind her like wings opening to embrace the night. The congregation shifted closer, drawn to the spark of inspiration igniting within Clara. "I have seen visions," she continued, her voice steady yet imbued with divine intensity. "These nights of prayer will weave a sacred bond among us. Each prayer is not merely for Emma. They are threads of a greater tapestry, linking our faiths in ways we have yet to understand." Laughter, once innocent and tender, faded into a solemn understanding. Samuel's heart raced. "What do you mean?" he asked, his curiosity veiled in awe. Clara lifted her hands, revealing a small, intricately carved wood cross. "This cross holds a truth, the first of three. Let it represent our unity. As we lift our voices, we acknowledge the divine light in all faiths. God does not yearn for division but for our collective strength. Nods of agreement rippled through the crowd, a soft murmur of amen echoing. Samuel felt warmth spread within him, the power of the truth igniting within the pavilion. Secondly, Clara spoke on, we must embrace healing, not just for Emma, but within ourselves. There are places in our hearts that ache, hidden wounds stitched together with doubt. Our prayers must also be for personal healing, forging a bridge of compassion and understanding across our differences. Tears shimmered in the eyes of many, washing over them like a sacred spring rain. Samuel realized that healing the community would require deep honesty, a willingness to confront their own fractures. And lastly, Clara leaned closer, her voice softer now, we are called to serve. These gatherings aren't just for solace. They must spur us into action. Let our prayers evolve into deeds of kindness, extending beyond our chapel doors. Only then can we truly honor the divine mystery weaving us together. An electric excitement sparked in the room. Purpose filled their hearts like fuel to a fire. Samuel stepped forward again, his soul ablaze with possibility. We shall not only pray, we will act as vessels of love and healing, bridging gaps created by fear and misunderstanding. As the congregation erupted in affirmations, Samuel turned his gaze to Clara, who nodded, a knowing smile curving her lips. What God is weaving here is a divine thread of transformation. And then, a hush fell upon them, the air thick with reverence. Samuel could feel the Spirit moving among them, a soft whisper reminding him of the journey ahead. What miracles awaited as this newfound unity took shape? That question lingered sweetly, hung in the air like a promise. Samuel's heart, full of anticipation, redirected his focus. Would they rise to embrace this calling together? Or would doubt shadow their steps? A new journey had begun, and Samuel stood at its edge, ready to dive deeper into the divine mysteries unfurling before him. What awaited them in the coming nights? What healing and connection would emerge when faith manifested into loving action? The air in the chapel felt charged, thick with the childlike wonder of hope. Samuel looked around at the faces illuminated by flickering candlelight, each one glowing with a fervor that seemed to transcend the ordinary. Hearts once shackled by fear now pulsated with a rhythmic beat of unity. Clara's words hung like a promise above them, full of potential and power. Let us lift our voices, Samuel said, his voice breaking through the silence, and call upon the God of hope and restoration. As the congregation joined him in prayer, their voices mingled, each prayer rising like fragrant incense, a testimony of their collective faith. With each whispered word, Samuel felt the divine Spirit weave through the gathering, caressing their souls tenderly. They prayed not only for Emma's healing but for their own transformation. Each heartache and burden was lifted, surrendered to the one who could heal even the deepest wounds. Samuel closed his eyes, envisioning light enveloping them, knitting their lives together like a vibrant quilt as the prayers flowed. Clara opened her hands, revealing the wooden cross. It twinkled softly in the dim light, casting dancing shadows across the walls. This cross is the first stepping stone toward our revelation, she said, her voice a passionate thread that held the congregation captive. The first truth we must embrace is love, the eternal love that transcends all boundaries. People shifted, nodding in agreement. Love, they understood that. Samuel sensed the truth resonating within everyone, echoing in their hearts like a sweet hymn. Our love for one another transforms every interaction, softening hearts and opening doors. Tears of joy glistened, as these words stirred memories of old grievances and lost connections, bringing fresh hope to souls eager for healing. But we cannot stop there, Clara continued. The second truth speaks to healing. Samuel opened his eyes, catching the glimmer of shared understanding across faces. We must allow ourselves to be vulnerable, to be willing to acknowledge and confront our own brokenness. A woman in the back, her glasses perched nervously on her nose, whispered, "I've carried so much pain alone." A ripple of encouragement surged through the crowd as others murmured their own confessions of hurt. Samuel's heart swelled. Healing was unfolding right in front of him. Clara continued, when we embrace our vulnerabilities, we become conduits of healing not just for ourselves, but for others. Each voice that joined together was a brushstroke on the canvas of their lives, creating a magnificent portrait of resilience and grace. The final truth is service, Clara announced, her gaze sweeping across the congregation. Let our prayers ignite us into action. Let each act of kindness be a flame that lights up our community, sending ripples of love throughout the world. Samuel's soul soared at the thought. Yes. Here lay the heartbeat of their faith, the commitment to act. Hands gripped the edges of pews tightly as new resolve burned brightly in their hearts. Each of them, just one spark, could ignite a wildfire of compassion. As they started to discuss practical steps for service, laughter and chatter filled the chapel. Excitement buzzed in the air, a powerful reminder that they were not alone in this journey. Samuel felt a peace wash over him. The weight of doubt began to lift, replaced by a shared dream of a more compassionate future. But just then, a soft, unsettling wind swept through the open door, stirring the room into silence once more. It carried with it a faint whisper that seemed to beckon them deeper, beyond the visible, into the unknown, into an uncharted territory of faith and revelation. Something new is on the horizon, Samuel sensed. What could this mysterious wind reveal next? The question hung heavy above them, an invitation to venture forth into their calling full of faith, love, and purpose. What awaited them as they dared to step into the unfolding mysteries that God had prepared? A hush befell the chapel after the wind whispered its secrets. Samuel, still feeling the weight of its presence, looked around at the faces turned expectantly toward him. Each expression held a blend of curiosity and trepidation, like a flock of birds poised to take flight. Clara stepped forward, her eyes sparkling with a fierce determination. What if, she began, her voice steady but imbued with emotion. This wind was a call for us to reach deeper, not just into our individual healing but into something that connects all of us. Samuel's heart skipped a beat. A revelation was dawning. Could it be that their hearts, once separate and fearful, were becoming intertwined, able to draw strength from one another's faith journeys? Clara continued, this connection, this calling, is rooted in the love we've spoken of. It is a reminder that we are not merely a local congregation. We are part of a greater body, a tapestry woven by God across the world. A murmur of agreement surged through the room, people leaning in with rapt attention. Clara's conviction lit a fire in their hearts. What if we reach out to those in other congregations, even those with different beliefs? What if our service extends beyond these walls into the world, building bridges where once there were barriers? Samuel felt a heat rise within him as Clara's words ignited possibilities. Imagine, he said, his own voice swelling with excitement, a network formed by acts of kindness, each outreach a thread connecting our hearts. When one thread strengthens, it makes the entire fabric more robust. With this idea hanging in the air, they began to brainstorm. Small groups formed, each buzzing with energy, enthusiasm brightening faces that had once seemed weary. Ideas flowed: partnerships with local charities, outreach to neighboring communities, inviting those with different beliefs to join in service projects. Love is universal, Samuel reminded them, and our shared desire for healing transcends our differences. The congregation nodded as a deep sense of belonging enveloped them, as if they were a part of something extraordinary. Yet, even amidst their fervent planning, the wind outside began to pick up, rattling the chapel's old wooden doors. A chill danced in the air, reminding them that they were on the brink of something unknown. It summoned a potency that both challenged and thrilled them. What if, Clara challenged, gaze steady. The truths we've shared are preparation for something vast, yet to be known. Laughter turned to solemnity as whispers echoed through the room, pondering her words. They were standing on the threshold of discovery, a sacred moment teetering between faith and fear, a place where miracles could happen. Samuel sensed a shift in the air. He could almost see it, a divine tapestry unfurling, connecting souls in ways they never imagined. But just as he was about to voice the depth of this feeling, the wind howled a strange melody, a beckoning that felt almost personal. What are we being invited to embrace? he asked, curiosity mingling with a hint of apprehension. Then came a lingering silence, thick with anticipation. The congregation held its breath, each member teetering on the edge of belief and wonder. Would the next chapter reveal secrets of their divine connections, or would it challenge their faith in new, unsettling ways? As the candles flickered wildly, Samuel felt the wind drawing them into a deeper mystery, one that promised transformation and awakening. "Are we ready?" he whispered to the gathering, "to turn our hearts toward this mysterious calling?" In that moment, the uncertain realm before them shimmered with potential, and the next step became not just a question, but a promise of divine adventure waiting to unfold. What lay ahead, waiting to be revealed, truly was anyone's guess. The wind outside continued to howl, its voice mingling with the rustling of leaves. Samuel stood motionless, feeling the energy shift in the room, a pulse of something sacred. Every heart was now an open door, ready to embrace the echoes of divine calling. Clara glanced around, her eyes alight with enthusiasm. "Let us take a moment," she suggested. "Let us simply breathe and listen. Listen not just with our ears, but with our hearts." The congregation quieted, and in the stillness, the air thickened with presence. It was as though they were suspended in a holy pause, each person attuned to the deeper resonance that tied them together. Samuel closed his eyes, allowing himself to feel the warmth of their collective faith. He sensed the love swirling around them, weaving individual stories into one grand narrative. Each member held a unique expression of belief, yet together, they were becoming one voice unified in purpose and compassion. The wind suddenly shifted, and Clara opened her eyes as if startled by an unseen force. "Did you feel that?" she breathed, a tremor in her voice. "Yes," Samuel replied, a smile breaking across his face. "It's as if something has awakened within us, nudging us onward." Inspired by a shared energy, Clara continued, "Let us explore three truths, the core of this connection that God has placed before us." With vehemence, she declared, "First, we are all created in God's image. This means that our differences are beautifully intentional. Each person carries a piece of the divine, and together, we reflect the fullness of God's love." A wave of nods swept through the crowd. It was simple yet profound. Samuel could see eyes shining with recognition. The realization that every life, every soul, was a thread in the tapestry was intoxicating. Second, Clara pressed on, her voice growing more powerful, "We are called to love one another as Christ loves us. This love is our greatest weapon against division. We will not let misunderstanding or fear separate us, for love knows no barriers." Amens erupted softly, building until the energy in the room felt like a crescendo. Samuel could see lives blending together, pursued by compassion rather than conflict. The wind responded, vibrating with their fervor. And third, Clara said, "In connecting with others and embracing our differences, we find healing not only within ourselves but for our entire community. Our outreach can spark renewal, unity, and grace." The congregation surged with excitement, voices rising in fervent agreement. There was magic in the air, a palpable sense of transformation. Samuel stepped forward. "What is our next step?" he asked, glancing at Clara, the spark of vision igniting anew. "How do we put these truths into action?" Before Clara could respond, the candles seemed to flicker more urgently, illuminated by an unseen force. The wind outside unleashed a powerful gust that rattled the chapel again, drawing everyone's gaze toward the doors. Samuel took a deep breath. "Together, we will press on, united in our mission to reach out and embrace one another beyond fear, beyond walls. We will form a marching band of love, breaking through darkness." As excitement intensified, the congregants began murmuring plans and ideas, but an uncanny hush fell once more. The entryway was illuminated by a flickering golden light that wrapped around them, holding them in a W.N. that moment. Samuel felt a wave of realization. Perhaps, he thought silently, the wind is a guide, revealing more than we anticipate. Before he could share his thoughts, Clara's eyes gleamed with determination. "Are we ready to step into the unknown?" to allow the miraculous to unfold? With their senses heightened, they gathered, hearts synchronized in courage. They were poised, ready to take flight, but what truly lay beyond the doors of the chapel? As they took a collective breath, a question lingered: how would their newfound commitment to love ripple through their lives and change the world outside? As the golden light shimmered at the chapel entrance, a hush spread through the room, thick with anticipation. Samuel could feel the heartbeat of the congregation resonate in harmony with his own. Clara, eyes bright with purpose, raised her hands, summoning attention. "Friends," she began, her voice steady and inspiring, "the world outside is waiting for us. Are we ready to move into that sacred light and let love lead our way?" "Yes." Voices called out, a chorus of agreement and excitement. That single word rippled through the air, igniting hearts, ready to be transformed into action. The wind outside seemed to echo their resolve, its gentle whisper now becoming a graceful breeze. Samuel took a moment to gather his thoughts, sensing something profound was at play. What would they encounter? And how would their hearts respond to it? "Let us step through those doors," Clara encouraged, "and discover what God has prepared for us." The call is not just for us but for all his children. They moved as one, characters in a sacred story. Hands were clasped, followed by spirited nods, as they left the warmth of their space for the uncharted path ahead. The golden light cradled them like a divine embrace as they stepped outside. The world greeted them with a rush of fresh air, awakening every sense. Samuel noticed the vibrant colors of flowers nodding in the breeze, their beauty a testament to their Creator's care. Birds sang, their melodies a reminder that Goddess love stretched wide and far, reaching every corner of existence. "We are all connected," Samuel murmured, feeling a conviction rise within him. Every being, every heart, a part of this divine mosaic. Clara turned to the group, her expression serene yet filled with vigor. "Our first task is to share that connection. Let us engage our community and reach out with open arms." The congregation nodded, hearts swelling with purpose. Together they walked through the streets, curious eyes spotting them, as if sensing the flow of spirit that surrounded their group. They encountered people from all walks of life, smiles exchanged, warmth shared, stories unfolded. Some communities had suffered in silence. Shadows of despair lingered like autumn leaves. Clara approached a young girl sitting alone, drawing on the pavement with forgotten chalk. "What are you creating?" she asked softly, kneeling beside her. "Just some colors," the girl replied quietly, yet her eyes sparkled with the brilliance of dreams yet to unfold. Clara invited her to share her art, and soon, a small crowd gathered, inspired by the girl's passion. Samuel reflected on this moment. It was the embodiment of love in action, weaving threads of connection between kindred spirits. As the group shared stories of hope and renewal, he felt it the palpable, electrifying charge of lives intertwining. Each conversation formed a bridge to understanding, forging ties that spanned beyond barriers. Samuel looked up to see a diverse crowd gathering, people of various backgrounds and faiths, voices mingling in a melody of acceptance. The spirit of love transcended all, unveiling a truth each gathered heart longed to witness. In the midst of this merging, Clara spoke again. "We have found our first step. In openness, we discover the miraculous beauty of each soul. But there is more awaiting us." The light shimmering around them began to pulse rhythmically. Samuel felt a shift. It was as if the heavens whispered, revealing a deeper calling. What lay ahead remained a mystery, but the promise of connection was nearer than before. He turned to Clara, a thought bursting forth. What if we could unite every faith, every belief under that sacred call of love? A moment hung in silence, charged with possibility. Ready to explore this sacred connection, they quietly awaited the journey ahead. What wondrous encounters would await them? What revelations would the divine unfold? As their gathering swirled with energy, Samuel noticed how a profound stillness wrapped around them like a tender cloak. It was as if time had paused, allowing the moment to breathe deeply in the presence of the divine. Clara's eyes sparkled with an inner light, reflecting the growing hope that infused their community. "Each of us carries a piece of a larger puzzle," she said, gesturing to the crowd. "Let us ask ourselves, what is our sacred truth? What does love reveal to us?" The murmurs of contemplation rippled through the group, harmonizing with the vibrant energy in the air. A man from the crowd stepped forward, his voice soft yet filled with conviction. "I am a Muslim," he began, "and I believe in the power of community. My faith teaches me that kindness is the bridge we build among one another." His words resonated, and nods of understanding spread like a warm wave. "I am a Hindu," echoed a woman nearby, her smile brightening her features. "In my faith, we celebrate unity in diversity. Each soul is a manifestation of the divine." As these beautiful truths began to weave together, Samuel felt a stirring in his heart. Voices continued to emerge, each imparting stories that connected personal journeys with universal love. A young boy, barely old enough to form fully realized thoughts, piped up. "We're all stars," he proclaimed, his innocence striking a chord. "And God loves every star just the same." Laughter erupted, filling the space with a lightness that anchored them all. Clara smiled warmly at the boy. "Yes, we all shine in our own way. Together, we create a constellation of hope." Samuel contemplated the depth of their gathering. Their identities, grounded in various beliefs, began to merge, forming a radiant tapestry of faith. This was what love could accomplish. But a whisper of unease tugged at him. How would they sustain this radiant energy? He shared his concern. What if we encounter resistance, misunderstandings? What if fear tries to creep in? Clara held his gaze, her reassurance flowing like warmth. "Then we will stand together, Samuel. In love, we become a shield against darkness. We are meant to illuminate the paths of those who lost their way." Samuel felt the truth in her words. Love was not merely a feeling. It was an active, living force. It demanded courage, embraced vulnerability, and challenged them to keep reaching across divides as they continued to engage with others. They began to see the incredible depth of their purpose manifesting. From the whispers of despair, they coaxed laughter. From words of exclusion, they invited inclusion. In the heart of the gathering, movement began to stir. The light surrounding them pulsed faster, flickering like the heartbeat of the universe. Samuel glanced up, and he thought he imagined a shimmering portal above them, a vision of unity unfolding. He blinked, colliding with a moment of wonder. Clara raised her arms once more, welcoming the growing energy. "What if we can build a sanctuary of love here, not just for today, but for forever? What extraordinary change could emerge? Let us dive into this calling." And just then, a deep voice broke in, resonating through the space like a gentle thunder. "The world needs you," it rumbled. "Love unites, but it also tests. Will you follow? Will you embrace the unknown?" Samuel's heart raced, the air electric around him. Each member of their gathering turned towards the voice, eyes wide and hearts open. They stood on the precipice of something more. Where would this journey lead them? What challenges awaited their united hearts? Samuel held his breath, yearning for the unfolding of divine revelation. The answer hovered in the air, shrouded in mystery and anticipation. A hush fell over the gathering, thick with a palpable sense of wonder. Samuel felt it deep in his bones, an invitation to explore not just the beauty of unity, but the transformative power of their individual truths. Clara glanced around, taking in every face, every glimmer of anticipation. "Let us not rush," she urged gently. "Let us listen, truly listen to what the divine is revealing." The air was charged, alive with energy. Samuel closed his eyes for just a moment, breathing deeply. He allowed the murmurs and the light to envelop him. In this sacred space, he felt a kindling of hope, igniting within him a desire to understand more distinctly the three prophetic truths that seemed to beckon from beyond. An elderly woman stepped forward. Her hair was a cascade of silver, and her hands shook slightly as she spoke. "I come from a tradition steeped in prayer," she began, her voice a soft caress. "And I believe the first truth is that prayer connects us to the heart of God. It's our way of reaching for the divine, celebrating our shared humanity. Samuel felt a warm glow within him. The truth of her words wrapped around his heart like a comforting embrace. He glanced at the others. He could see heads nodding, eyes shimmering with recognition. "I want to add," called out the man who had spoken earlier. "The second truth is that compassion brews a fellowship where differences dissolve. Our hearts beat closely in this space when we show love to one another." "Amen to that," Clara cried, her enthusiasm infectious. Laughter and shouts of agreement filled the space, lifting spirits higher. Samuel felt the energy swell as the connections among them grew stronger, like roots intertwining beneath the surface. Finally, Clara raised her hand again, her eyes aflame with intensity. "The third truth," she articulated with care, "is that forgiveness carries a weight that can anchor us when the winds of doubt blow hard." Her words hung in the air, rich with meaning. Forgiveness is our power. It allows love to thread through our wounds, stitching our hearts as one. A wave of emotion rippled through the gathering. Samuel felt a lump in his throat, the weight of her words moving him profoundly. Each truth intertwined, forming a perfect harmony that resonated deep within their souls. All at once, they were not just individuals sharing the same space. They were a collective expression of faith and love. In that moment, Samuel realized this was the flame that would help them navigate through adversity. As if reading his thoughts, Clara continued, "Together, we can wield these truths like shields against fear, for we are stronger than we think." The crowd erupted in a chorus of agreement, hands raised high. Samuel looked around, eyes meeting those of the assembly, feeling the unbreakable bond they shared. Yet within him stirred a sense of something more, a whisper leading him deeper still into the stirrings of the divine. Just then, a flicker of light caught Samuel's eye. Above them, the shimmering portal pulsed brightly, as if responding to the fervor of their spirits. It felt like a doorway, promising revelations yet to come. What lies beyond it? Samuel thought, wonder coursing through his veins. Would it open to new understandings, or perhaps divine encounters? He glanced at Clara, whose expression mirrored the curiosity filling his heart. With eyes wide and hearts yearning, they stood at the threshold of discovery, each awaiting the next divine invitation. What awaited them in the celestial embrace of faith? What mysteries did love have in store? A journey beckoned, and only by stepping forward could they uncover its treasures. In the radiant dawn over Hopewell, Samuel stood at the precipice of change, invigorated by the lessons learned in the nights of prayer and revelation. The once quiet village now buzzed with a renewed spirit, a collective pulse resonating through its streets like a tender hymn of unity. Emma's healing journey continued, not just within her frail body, but rippling outward, touching every heart that dared to connect. Sunlight streamed through the chapel windows, illuminating the revered wooden cross Clara had brought. Samuel felt an undeniable warmth wrap around him. This cross had become a profound symbol reminding everyone that love was the essence bridging the gaps between their differences. He knew this was the culmination of the miraculous truths the divine had revealed. Today was not just another day. It was a call to deeper action service that would extend beyond their hearts and into the lives of others. Together, they had uncovered 3 sacred truths: the power of prayer, the depth of compassion, and the transcendence of forgiveness. Each truth spun a thread, weaving them into a colorful tapestry of faith. Samuel gathered the villagers once more under the open sky, a vibrant expanse above reflecting the boundless love of their Creator. Clara stood beside him, her face aglow with passion. "Friends," she began, her voice like a gentle breeze, coaxing them to lean in, "we have journeyed far, but our mission is just beginning. Let us now take these sacred truths and set our feet to action." A chorus of amens echoed in response, vibrating through the warm air. The villagers were ready, inspired to serve not only their own kind but to reach out into the broader community. They could envision their collective impact, a ripple effect of kindness that reached every soul yearning for light. "We shall create a festival of unity," Jeremiah, the blacksmith, declared amidst the gathering. His eyes sparkled with fervent excitement. "An event where every faith can come together and share its beauty." We can share food, stories, laughter and prayers. Gasps of realization filled the space. It was a simple yet tremendous idea of vibrant tapestry woven together through shared histories and diversity. What better way to embrace our differences than with the warmth of a festival? Clara suggested, her enthusiasm infectious. Let us invite everyone. Our neighbors, families from different religions, anyone with a heart willing to connect. With every idea shared, each voice mingled with purpose, and gradually, the vision took shape. Children would paint murals, representing each community's faith, while adults shared meals rich with cultural heritage. Laughter and friendship would rise like incense toward heaven. Samuel smiled, his spirit soaring. He could feel the Spirit moving, urging them toward divine connections that would further reinforce the fabric of their community. Hopewell would blossom into a sanctuary, not just for themselves but for all who needed a taste of divine light in their lives. As ideas flowed like rushing waters. Creating plans for this remarkable event, Samuel stepped back to reflect. He saw the faces around him, those who had once been strangers now united under a banner of faith. They recognized their shared humanity, the divinity mirrored in one another. But amidst the joy, a soft wind tousled their hair. A familiar whisper danced around them, reminding Samuel of the powerful journey ahead. Would they embrace the fears that lurked in the shadows? Would they stand together when challenges arose? The unknown lay ahead, but he felt a profound courage born from their collective heart. Let us remember, Clara raised her arms again. This festival isn't merely a gathering but a pledge to uphold these truths in our hearts and actions always. To carry love and compassion wherever we go. The amens grew loud, spirited and rich with the strength of unity as Samuel looked at the villagers. A wave of gratitude washed over him. They had become more than a community. They were family woven together by divine purpose, each thread vital in the grand tapestry. Hopewell thrived, and through their devotion, light shared would illuminate even the darkest corners of life beyond their village. They would embark on this new adventure, not one of uncertainty, but one of exhilarating potential, knitted together by brotherhood and dedication. Samuel raised his hands, eyes shimmering with hope. Let this be a promise, not just for today, but for our lives. We will extend this love generously, and together we will manifest miracles amongst us. With determination, they joined together in prayer, hearts intertwined, voices lifted to heaven, ready to face whatever divine mysteries awaited them. This was the moment where faith moved outward, where action became the testament to their beliefs and where love blossomed and resonated through every heartbeat and gesture. This transformed Hopewell would thrive beyond its borders, and the ripples of their spirit would flow like a mighty river into the wider world. Samuel's heart danced as he felt, deep down, the serene assurance that they had only just begun to explore the miracles they could bring forth together. Now was the time for action. A festival awaited, love flourished, and in unity, they would shine brighter than ever. You need to subscribe now. Don't miss our upcoming exclusive faith stories that will inspire and uplift your spirit. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help spread these divine messages. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this incredible journey. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope in action. This is the moment to show your support. Only true servants of God understand the importance of uplifting each other.